This is the Pause Your Life podcast, where we take a look at the newest research on the effects of today's fast-paced lifestyle and how the meditation organization Pause Your Life offers an escape route from the hamster wheel that is modern living. I'm your host, Hannah-Lee Myers. Mid-episode, we bring you words of wisdom from philosopher, author, and poet James Allen, followed by tips on just how to make the Pause Your Life lifestyle a reality in your day-to-day life. And then, an opportunity to try pausing your life. You can visit pauseyourlife.org to receive free midweek pause materials to help you stay grounded and not get swept away in the madness. Every Wednesday, you'll enjoy an email containing a featured excerpt from a book or blog post, an inspiring photo, and a deep, thoughtful quote. You can also follow Pause Your Life on Twitter and Facebook. Just search Pause Your Life. In the last episode of the Pause Your Life podcast, we got a glimpse at what the Pause Your Life organization has to offer by visiting a Pause Your Life meetup and following the experiences of participants on one of the retreats. We also heard about new research showing the positive impact group activities can have on a person's happiness. In this episode, we'll take a look at the philosophies that inspire Pause Your Life's mission.
Along the great highway of life, there are such resting places. Away from the heat of passion and the dust of disappointment, under the cool and refreshing shade of lowly wisdom, are the humble, unimposing rest houses of peace.
We'll also discuss just how Pause Your Life fits the needs of the modern age and the unique opportunity the obstacles of the 21st century are offering millennials and contemporary generations.
My wish is the next generation will dismantle the way that we are looking at life from the economic perspective and look at the quality of life.
And we'll tap into knowledge shared by experts in the fields of science, philosophy, and meditation that might just be the encouragement you need to build the courage necessary to pursue the more peaceful lifestyle you really want. All that coming up in the next half hour on the Pause Your Life podcast. Great advancements in technology and innovation change the human experience, change people. That was obvious during the Industrial Revolution, and it's obvious today as we try to come to grips with the pressure the digital revolution has left us with. During these reinventions of the human condition, it's more important than ever that we not lose sight of our true goals. British philosopher, author, and poet James Allen lived in a similar time of great change. His career was at its peak in 1901, at the dawn of the Industrial Revolution in the UK. The world was ripe for change and open to new ideas, including ideas about spirituality, the pursuit of happiness, and the meaning of life. In 1903, Allen established his place as one of the pioneers of modern inspirational thought when he published his most popular book, As a Man Thinketh. Soon after, Allen published Byways of Blessedness, which he described as a book for all that aims to reveal the sublime principles which lie hidden in the common facts of daily life. And it's this work of Allen's that had the greatest impact on Pause Your Life co-founder Chris Curran.
At some point, I believe in 2012, I found the book Byways of Blessedness by James Allen. And this book, well, it was the impetus to start Pause Your Life. It really was. And when you read the foreword, you'll understand why. This foreword really just, it's like he's describing Pause Your Life. It's that powerful.
In the foreword, Allen describes the rest house and the often overlooked or ignored byways of blessedness within ourselves. I found Chris's reading of Allen's words about the rest house to be pretty moving.
And hour by hour, men are fainting and falling, and numbers that cannot be counted perish of heart hunger, heart thirst, and heart fatigue.
But he who will step aside from the passionate press, and will deign to notice and to enter the byways which are here presented, his dusty feet shall press the incomparable flowers of blessedness, his eyes be gladdened with their beauty, and his mind refreshed with their sweet perfume. Rested and sustained, he will escape the fever and the delirium of life, and, strong and happy, he will not fall fainting in the dust, nor perish by the way, but will successfully accomplish his journey.
James Allen in general, but that book is serious. That's on another level.
Allen's teachings on spirituality and true happiness couldn't be more relevant today, particularly for young people struggling to pace their steps in a new world.
A report called Stagnation Generation says millennials are at risk of becoming the first ever to earn less over their lifetime than previous generations.
So young people today have half the median net worth as young people did in the 1980s.
You think you're going to graduate and all these things are just going to happen for you, and when nothing happens, you're like, well, what was this for? I just spent all this time and money, so much money.
Wages have also dropped significantly by 20%.
Pause Your Life's Chris Curran says he hopes young people will choose to see the positive potential in their challenging circumstances.
I mean, imagine if millennials sort of bonded with each other and just said, look, we're going to get by. We'll make 20% less, no problem. Until we figure out the game, and we're going to figure out the game. And make it more about quality of life and happiness or spirituality or higher awareness or fulfillment.
And Pause Your Life co-founder Malar Curran adds,
We are comparing the monetary and saying 20% less because we look at life how you are established based upon your salary, what you own, and what you have. So I'm going to weigh on that basis. But on the spiritual sense, how much have you consciously grown?
And young people, in some capacity, are putting more and more of their time and energy into fostering a culture that values health and personal growth. In the face of economic hardship and the sharp increase in lifestyle pace that comes with technology and globalization, millennials are reviving the discussion around the value of self-care. In 2015, the Pew Research Center put out a report showing millennials are committing to personal improvement goals on a greater scale than any other Western generation before them. And another report found they spend twice as much as baby boomers on self-care essentials. But older generations are voicing strong criticism of the youth's choice to put self-care at the top of their personal agendas, calling particularly the millennial generation lazy, naive, and self-absorbed. But Chris Curran believes, for the most part, it's best to just ignore those voices.
Fortunately or unfortunately, it's up to the individual to live his or her life. And look, if the culture is in disagreement with me, who cares? Like, I have to be able to stand strong on my own, and that's what we're seeing a lot these days. Is Jordan Peterson? He says we have to stop being aged children. We have to grow up and be mature. And being one of the things about being mature and grown up is the ability to say, you know what, this is my culture, and I disagree with 30% of what my culture says. But so I'm going to live my life the way I want to, and the culture is what it is. I'm not changing the culture, and so that's it. So accepting that, living with that. I hope it millennials can be more wise, which I think they are. Every generation should be wiser. Should incorporate into this new culture or new way of life the idea of higher awareness and consciousness and real personal growth on that level. And of course, Pause Your Life feeds right into that, because that's where you're gonna, when you pause is when you're gonna get these creative ideas, and you're gonna understand how to change the world, basically.
At the core of Pause Your Life is meditation. The organization considers the practice of mindfulness and meditation one of the most important forms of self-care out there. And over the course of this podcast, we've heard many experts from many areas of stress research say the same. For centuries, some of the greatest minds in human history have praised the value of meditation. One such expert is legendary philosopher Alan Watts. As a writer and speaker in the 1950s and 60s, Watts made Eastern philosophy accessible to a Western audience. He and the Currans say many people have a warped perception of the practice.
Why meditate? Why do anything of a so-called spiritual nature? It's done for fun. I might even say meditation is a fun thing. And if it isn't, you're not meditating. There's an awful game that meditators play, which is competitive suffering. They go to some place where they sit for hours on end until their legs ache and practically fall off. And then come back and brag about they sat through all those hours of leg aching, until you suddenly wake up and begin real meditation by realizing that you were there, that you do really meditate all the time by virtue of existing all the time.
And Watts offers this encouragement if you're still not sure this whole meditation thing is for you.
Now, I know the word discipline isn't very popular these days, because most people who teach disciplines don't teach them very well. They teach it with a kind of violence, as if a discipline was something that is going to be extremely unpleasant and that you're going to have to put up with. But that's not the real secret of discipline. I would prefer to use the word skill. There is immense pleasure in learning how to do anything skillfully. To make carpentry things, to cook, to write, to calculate, anything you want. It can be immensely pleasurable to learn the discipline. And it's enormously important, especially for American people, to understand that there is absolutely no possibility of having any pleasure in life at all without skill. Money doesn't buy pleasure, ever. But it isn't an unpleasant task to learn a skill if the teacher, in the first place, gets you fascinated with it.
And Pause Your Life is all about offering guidance and support to foster meditation skills and make it fascinating. Pause Your Life can help bring something into your life that's enjoyable if you're willing to give it a clean slate shot. But even fun hobbies take time and effort, which requires some willpower.
Each individual has to be strong enough to live his or her own way. And it's not easy, but it is a habit. In the American culture especially, we've been weakened so much in our will, in our fortitude. Mentally, we are so weak. We have to become powerful ourselves and within ourselves. And we can't rely on anything outside ourselves, because that's really what spirituality says.
Making the decision to try what Pause Your Life has to offer will also take some courage. And as Alan Watts says, the ability to see through the madness.
Imagine the idea that the moment you were born, you were kicked off the edge of a precipice, and you were falling. As you fell, a great lump of rock came with you, and is traveling alongside you. And you're clinging to it for dear life, and thinking, gee, I've got to hold on to this, you see? Well, it doesn't do a thing for you. And it's only making you anxious. And it's only when you understand that it doesn't do a thing for you that you let go and relax. So everybody's in this situation. We're all completely insecure. We're all headed straight for death as if we had been condemned by a judge. And yet here we are all clinging on to things. And we have all sorts of alibis for doing this. We say, well, I have responsibilities for my dependents and I've got to cling on. But all you're doing is you're teaching your dependents to cling in the same way as you are. And making them miserable by learning to go on surviving compulsively.
If you're fantasizing about a better life right now, there's a decent chance your daydream is being interrupted by concerns about your responsibilities to those that depend on you. That's totally understandable. That's reality. But in reality, your happiness and how you live your life is likely the most important thing you can offer the people that need you, particularly in the case of children. Todd and Kathy Adams host a podcast called Zen Parenting, and they agree that in comparison to the money a parent makes and the guidance they offer, making yourself happy is the best thing you can pass on to your children.
I think that the reason that, I'm not even close to a perfect dad, I'm not even close to a perfect husband, but I think that the reason why I'm a good husband and I'm a good dad is because I'm continuously working on myself. Mm-hmm. What we say on every podcast is that and we stole it from Dan Siegel, mm-hmm. that the best predictor of a child's well-being is a parent's self-understanding. And to kind of enhance that, it's not about what we say to our kids. Mm-mm. It's how are we living our life in this world. And our kids are going to learn more about watching us live our life than about what we say to them.
What our kids need is a sense of compassion for themselves and for the world.
And if you're still not convinced you can pull this off and make a lifestyle change, here's a true story that was the bit of motivation that gave me the courage and determination to live a more meaningful life. An Australian nurse who spent years compiling her many, many patients' regrets in their last moments discovered the number one regret people are sharing on their deathbeds isn't, I wish I would have spent more time with friends and family, or that I traveled more, or anything like that. It was, I wish I'd had the courage to live a life true to myself, not the life others expected of me. This is your life. You may only get one. Don't make the tragic mistake of wasting it. The most powerful means of creating the world you want is to live the life your soul craves. So it's about you, and yet it's not about you. Your choice to find peace affects everyone and has the potential to redefine the norms of modern life. So honestly asking yourself the question, am I happy, couldn't be more worth it. And Pause Your Life exists to help make your dreams of a fulfilling, peaceful, meaningful life your new reality. Our new reality. We invite you to stay tuned for words of wisdom from philosopher, author, and poet James Allen, read by co-founder of Pause Your Life, Chris Curran. And afterward, Chris will offer tips and guidance to help you make the Pause Your Life lifestyle attainable in your day-to-day life.
Happy endings. Life has many happy endings because it has much that is noble and pure and beautiful. Although there is much sin and ignorance in the world, many tears, and much pain and sorrow, there is also much purity and knowledge, many smiles, and much healing and gladness. No pure thought, no unselfish deed can fall short of its felicitous result, and every such result is a happy consummation. A pleasant home is a happy ending. A successful life is a happy ending. A task well and faithfully done is a happy ending. To be surrounded by kind friends is a happy ending. A quarrel put away, grudges wiped out, unkind words confessed and forgiven, friend restored to friend, all these are happy endings. To find that which one has long and tediously sought, to be restored from tears to gladness, to awaken in the bright sunlight out of the painful nightmare of sin, to strike, after much searching, the heavenly way in life. These are indeed blessed consummations. He who looks for, finds, and enters the byways which I have indicated will come to this one without seeking it, for his whole life will be filled with happy endings. He who begins right and continues right does not need to desire and search for felicitous results. They are already at hand. They follow as consequences. They are the certainties, the realities of life. There are happy endings which belong solely to the material world. These are transient and they pass away. There are happy endings which belong to the spiritual world. These are eternal and they do not pass away. Sweet are companionships, pleasures, and material comforts, but they change and fade away. Sweeter still are purity, wisdom, and the knowledge of truth, and these never change nor fade away. Wherever a man goes in this world, he can take his worldly possessions with him. But soon he must part company with them. And if he stands upon these alone, deriving all his happiness from them, he will come to a spiritual ending of great emptiness and want. But he who has attained to the possession of spiritual things can never be deprived of his source of happiness. He will never have to part company with it. And wherever he goes in the whole universe, he will carry his possession with him. His spiritual end will be the fullness of joy. Happy in the eternal happiness is he who has come to that life from which the thought of self is abolished. Already, even now in this life, he has entered the kingdom of heaven, nirvana, paradise, the New Jerusalem, the Olympus of Jupiter, the Valhalla of the gods. He knows the final unity of life, the great reality of which these fleeting and changing names are but feeble utterances. He is at rest on the bosom of the infinite. Sweet is the rest, and deep the bliss of him who has freed his heart from its lusts and hatreds and dark desires. And he who, without any shadow of bitterness or selfishness resting upon him, and looking out upon the world with boundless compassion and love, can breathe in his inmost heart the blessing, peace unto all living things, making no exceptions or distinctions. Such a man has reached that happy ending which can never be taken away. For this is the perfection of life, the fullness of peace, the consummation of perfect blessedness. Let's talk about integrating all these Pause Your Life concepts and practices into your daily life. Right, Muller? It always comes down to your daily life, what you do every day, right?
Exactly.
So the first thing is that it starts with a decision to make it a priority. You have to make it a priority in your life, or else it's just going to get pushed to the side, and you're going to replace that time in your schedule with something else that's not as good.
Especially in this era where we have zillion things to distract us.
All right, the next thing is to envision your life with these new practices and philosophies. Meaning, literally run the movie in your mind and see it happening, and then that'll help you actually figure out how to make it happen, right?
If you don't have that blueprint in your head, you cannot implement it.
Okay, let's move to the next one, which is read good books. If you're trying to make a change in your life, if you're trying to replace some habits with better habits, reading good books, powerful books, not only gives you knowledge, but also keeps you encouraged along the way.
So if you are looking to change your lifestyle and enhance it towards in the spiritual way, there's only books. Because there are not that many masters that are around us where we can go and seek. But there are scriptures and books which talk those messages from those masters.
Yeah, it expands your mind.
Oh my God. You might be just believing in some small, tiny idea all your life and living for it. And there you open up a book and it just questions it and shakes your very fundamental foundation stone of it.
Yeah, that's real change right there. Okay, next one is, well, I thought we should just quickly mention meditation. I mean, we've talked about it in this podcast a lot already, but meditation, I mean, it's the main building block of this new life for yourself. Another one is to surround yourself with good people. Like you can find some people locally, some friends who you can get together with and do some activities, or, for instance, our meetup locally as well.
You will feel whether your energy is getting drained or your soul is being refreshed and rejuvenated, just being around those kind of people. Choose wisely your company.
Right, and the next one is to move away from negative influences in your life. A lot of times you can look around in your life and you know that there's one or two elements of your life that are just not good. And so, figuring out what those elements are and then slowly moving away from them. Or quickly moving away, right?
Right. At the beginning, it might be very scary because you are leaving your known environment. Even though it is killing you, you just stay there just for the safety of it.
Right.
But please, get out of it.
Yeah. All right. The next thing is to invest in your personal evolution. And by invest, we mean time and also money, because going on retreats is one of the deepest ways that you can make changes.
Why not invest on the good thing and help yourself?
Right. All right. The next thing is to have a sanctuary place wherever you live, right? And that's mainly a place where you can just sit and relax and meditate, right?
Exactly. We are surrounded by energy, and most of the people will understand what it means. When you walk into a holy place like a church or a temple, you have that energy, you feel that energy. You can create that in your home, create that place where you go there on a daily basis to have some serenity in that. Don't use it as a common place and treat it holy.
That leads to the next thing, which is journaling, which is something you can do in that place as well.
See, I was not a journaling person at the beginning, but over the years I have seen the benefit of it, because if I go back and look at my older journals, I know where I started.
And the next thing is, don't ever judge yourself. This is very important, because when you endeavor to change your life in any way, you'll make some plans, and then the plans won't work out the way you thought they would. And it's okay. So don't judge yourself. Judging yourself and sort of putting yourself down for not being perfect on this path is the fastest way to failure. We have to be patient with ourselves first and understand that you're slowly evolving. So that's our little list. I'm sure there's other things. I'd like to end by saying you should feel encouraged on this journey, because all the power and energy deep inside you is on your side and is here to help you on this journey. So there's no way you can go wrong, right?
There is a natural pull towards going higher and higher. So all we have to do is not resist that pull.
So we wish you well on your journey, and we hope to see you soon at a Pause Your Life retreat. Thank you.
Thank you.
And that does it for this episode of the Pause Your Life podcast. Do yourself a favor and visit pauseyourlife.org to check out upcoming retreats, meetups, and to sign up for your free midweek pause materials to help keep you grounded. Music for the Pause Your Life podcast was composed by DJ Budabomb, and our theme music was produced by Ganges. You can find them both on SoundCloud. The light within us honors the light within you. I'm Hannah Lee Myers. Thanks for listening.